Let's bring in Geoffrey Nice, who is an emeritus professor of law at Gresham College and a lead prosecutor for the International Criminal Court. Geoffrey, impassioned speeches at the UN, do you think they'll make any difference?
Prosecutor at the Yugoslav tribunal, not the International Criminal Court. It's hard to tell whether impassioned speeches will make much difference, but we're getting so close to having, from previous votes, a vote for a ceasefire, that holding out against it by the United States and the United Kingdom are perhaps going to be a bit more difficult for them to justify or maintain to their own people, and therefore a bit more difficult for them to hold in the United Nations. I was interested to hear your correspondent speak of the possibility of, certainly by the United States, abstention and allowing the vote to go through. So, A, yes, impassioned speeches do work. B, there's a big groundswell of opinion, of huge concern for there not being a ceasefire. But C, it's very important for those of us who instinctively may feel, as perhaps I do, that a ceasefire must be the next thing. We don't actually have the expert information that could either justify or show to be completely unjustified Israel's actions on the ground. Because what it's going to have to say in due course when this matter goes to the International Criminal Court for both Israel and for Hamas, it's going to have to show that its actions were justified. And at all times when the evidence is being given, people will be reviewing it beside the calls for the ceasefires, such as the one that may come later this afternoon, evening. And so what seems to me most important is to bear in mind probably what the public would want. The public would want a ceasefire. Enough of this, they would say, and for goodness sake, let the United Nations get in there, cure it, let the court get in there and deal with it. But we still don't know, for example, what other methods of dealing with Hamas Israel may have that would justify the argument against them that they must stop the fighting on the present basis.
There was also a message from the Palestinian ambassador to the UN that international law must be respected by all sides. And in his words, Israeli exceptionalism must end. What do you make of that? Has there been Israeli exceptionalism, in your opinion?
Well, in part, I repeat my previous answer. We don't actually know. For example, whether there are other ways of controlling people in tunnels. We hear that there are, other than by bombing targets that inevitably lead to humanitarian civilian disaster and tragedy. But there's an increasing quantity of material that would lead to suggest that proportionality, which is what has to be established for lawfulness in armed combat, is not available as an argument to either side. And people with much greater expert inside knowledge than I have none, really, seem to be saying, yes, this is unjustified, it's not proportionate. Now, insofar as two countries in particular, the United States and the United Kingdom, seem to become the outliers and supporting a position that is contrary to what a lot of experts with insider information are saying, is that exceptionalism being supported by major countries? I guess in due course it may I don't know, it may be shown to be that.
Geoffrey Nice joining us from the UK. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.